Hello everyone, how are you doing? I hope that you are doing so very well. Yes, we're on the beanbag again. Just gonna do this as a casual video. My last wrap up was in February. You can do the math on that. That was many months ago. And somewhere around the summer, I got the idea that I was going to be doing wrap up catch ups. So was gonna catch you up on everything I've read in the year since my last wrap up. And then I kept putting it off, and here we are today. These reviews are gonna be super generalized. We got a lot of ground to cover, so I'm not gonna go too in depth. This will also be the first of a couple videos because I don't want to subject you to like ridiculously long wrap-up catch-up videos. I'm trying to get my crap together, guys, and that's what this video is. I'm finally doing it. So, wrap-up catch-up number 1, let's go. Let us begin with March. Let's just turn the clocks all the way back. The first book that I read was The Distance from Me to You by Maureenkeavy. This is about a girl who decides to hike the Appalachian Trail alone for a number of reasons, and then she meets this guy, and they kind of fall in love, I guess. It's kind of a love story, but it's also about her, like, going through this journey of hiking the Appalachian Trail by herself and, like, doing things by herself and being able to get through it. It was an enjoyable contemporary, not the best, not the worst, so I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. Next up is The Rest of Us Just Live Here by Patrick Ness, and this is about kids who are in kind of like an apocalyptic novel, but they're not the kids that it happens to. They're the kids in the background trying to live their lives on the side while all this is happening. I was trying to figure out when I was reading it what it reminded me of, but it reminds me of Puffs, because Puffs is about the Hufflepuffs while Harry Potter is at Hogwarts. They are the sideline story to The Boy Who Lived, and that's kind of what this book was. I really thought it was very inventive. Like, you found out about what was actually happening with the larger plot and all that stuff with like little paragraphs at the beginning of the chapters, but the chapters were about all of these other characters just really trying to live their lives and not die. One thing I really liked about the characters in this book is that they called those kids the indie kids, and just the things that they would say about them just called out different things that young adult apocalyptic kind of books do. They talk about how these kids like don't use the internet. Some of them just like disappeared for a couple days in school, and they're like, where are these kids? No one knows. And it's things that you don't really think twice about when reading those kinds of books. When it's pointed out from somebody who's a sideline character in the book, it's hilarious. The main character in this book also had obsessive compulsive disorder, so that was really interesting to see. It was really fun, really enjoyable, really different, but it wasn't like blow me away amazing. I gave this book a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Next up is Want by Cindy Pond, and this was so good. I really liked this world that she built. I really liked the storyline and the characters. It was like futurish Taiwan, and there was a heist, and there was all of this cool stuff. I liked the chemistry between the two main characters, but my main issue with this book was the development of the villain. There was a clear reason why this company was the villain. They were doing some awful stuff to the people and to the world, but it just didn't feel like a really good villain. It felt like you were told this bad stuff they were doing, but you didn't really see a lot of it. It just didn't feel fully developed. It was a very interesting world. It just like wasn't top notch for me. I gave this a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Next up is Burial Rites by Hannah Kent, and this book was so good but so dark. You know it's gonna be sad going in with the plot. Basically, this girl gets accused of murder and she's sent to live on a farm to like live out the last of her days before she is executed in Iceland. And it's just really a story about how things are not everything that they seem, and people jump to conclusions and assumptions very quickly. The writing was beautiful. Agnes was such an amazing main character, and I really loved the development of all the characters and how Hannah Kent chose to tell the story and piecing together things with flashbacks. It was just very well done. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. Next up was Caraval by Stephanie Garber. There was a lot of people that hyped this book up majorly, and it just didn't live up to that. The story and the setting was really interesting, and the story moved very quickly, but it just fell a little bit flat for me. Some of the plot points and how things all came together in the end didn't really make sense, and I didn't really like the love story happening. This ain't it, chief. For this book, I will say trigger warning for abuse and for suicide. One thing that people complained about was that the dad was abusive, and that was bad, but that was like him as a villain and as an evil character. So I didn't have an issue with that. I just didn't think the book was very well done. I'm intrigued enough that I may read the next book, but I'm not like itching to read it. I gave this a 3 out of 5 stars. And the last book that I read was Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda. I read this right before I saw the movie movie, I was like, let's go. I think I finished it the day I saw the movie, very close to it, and I love the movie as well, but it's such a good story and such a great coming out story for Simon. I loved all the characters. I'm the sucker for contemporary romance, and this was a very well done contemporary romance. I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. That is 5 books that I read in March. Moving into April. The first book that I finished in April was Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ng, and it was so good. It was a very hard book to read and very painful. There was just so much sadness, and it was really, I think, at its core a book about grief and how people deal with grief, and for that reason it was very sad. I loved that. It was a biracial family and talking about the struggles that they went through with that, especially in America in the 50s or 60s, somewhere around there. It was just so well done, and I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. Next up, I read Stay Sweet by Siobhan Vivian, and this was really fun. It was a really great contemporary. I don't think I've actually read anything by Siobhan Vivian until this book. It was just such a good contemporary because it wasn't just about the love story, and if you know me at all, especially you know how I love Morgan Matson, I like contemporary books that aren't just about the romance, that aren't just about like the love story, but that have the main character dealing with something and coming out on the other side, or really learning something about themselves, and that was this book. And it was just so good and so cute and sweet. Stay Sweet. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. Next up, I read This Adventure Ends by Emma Mills, and guys, I love Emma Mills. She's becoming one of my new favorite contemporary authors. I just love her characters and the wit and sass of them, and also just her writing style. I really loved it. The first book was a little bit rocky, had some issues with it, but they just keep getting better, and this was no exception. It was so good. I love that there were some mentions of fan fiction and fandom in it. It was just so cute, and the love story was so cute, and everything was great, and nothing hurt, and I love it so much. I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. Next up was Meet Cute, which is an anthology of meet cutes, and it was so good. I liked Something Real, The Unlikelihood of Falling in Love, The Dictionary of You and Me, The Intern. Click was my favorite one by far. They were all just so great. I love meet cutes, and this was literally a whole book of meet cutes. Highly recommend it. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. Next up, I read The Chaos of Standing Still by Jessica Brody, and I liked this for a contemporary. It definitely had a main character majorly going through something, aka trying to deal with their best friend's death. I really liked watching Rin, the main character, grow throughout this book and change throughout this book and really come to terms with her best friend's death. It wasn't my favorite, but it was a very good, very quick read, and I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Next up was Integrity by Henry Cloud, and this is a book I read for work before we kind of stopped reading books for work. This was so good. It was really about how you can have all the skills and all of the good attributes of a good employee, but if you don't have integrity, you're never going to be a great employee. And it's also about hiring based on integrity and aspects of integrity, and it was just very well done. There's not a part that I can particularly remember at the moment that stood out to me as the best or the most profound thing that I learned from this book, because I read this quite a few months ago and I've slept since then. But overall, it was just so good. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. And last up in April, I read Winter Garden by Kristen Hanna, and I did not love this book. If you've read The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna, I really love that book. Winter Garden is basically like a lot of elements of that book, but done worse. Mostly that there's sisters and there's like a whole other subplot going on. It does take place in modern day, so it's different than The Nightingale, but it just felt like the same kind of thing. And I think what really killed it for me is we got to the ending and it was literally like a Hallmark movie. There were parts that were too perfect and then parts that were like really sad. It just didn't work for me. I was like, I don't know what else to say about it. I didn't really love it. It was fine for a kind of historical book. It was enjoyable, but it was not good. The Nightingale by her is much better. I gave this a 3 out of 5 stars. So that is 7 books that I read in April, and let's move on to May. May was a crazy, crazy time. I found out at the very end of April that I was going to Ethiopia, and I had like a week and a half to prepare, and my sister graduated, and then I went to Ethiopia, and then I had like a week back from work, and then I went to Book Expo, and it was just so much. And I feel like I was behind, but when we got to the beginning of May, that's really where things started to like snowball out of control, and then I got really behind on like everything everything. So here we are. First up is one book that I just want to like briefly mention. I started a book called Two-Way Street by Lauren Barnholt, and I got 15 pages in and DNF'd it because it was so bad. I was really looking for some good contemporary romance, and that was not it. Next up was Interlude by Chantal Sedgwick, and I think this was just like not great. It was a pretty fluffy contemporary. It featured one of my favorite guilty pleasure tropes, even though it's not really a guilty pleasure because I'll fully admit it, which is like famous and or musician kind of person falls in love with a normal girl. I'm a sucker for it every time. I only gave it 2 stars and I don't really know why. I guess I didn't like it, but I honestly don't know why. I didn't write it down. I probably like the family, I probably like some of the romance, but something must have been off for me to rate it 2 stars instead of 3 stars, so that's what you get. Next up is Out of Left Field by Chris Hu Lee. This is pretty cute. Features a girl who goes out for the guys baseball team instead of the softball team because her best friend, who's the pitcher, gets hurt and she's really good, and then everybody like turns on her. There's some best friends to lovers trope in here. I really like the main character like owning her sport and being so good at it, but I think where it fell flat for me was the reason that the romance was having issues and like, you know, the problems in every contemporary romance was like all boiled down to miscommunication. Why? But it was fun, and I would recommend reading it as like a light, fluffy contemporary romance if you really just like want to read a contemporary romance. I gave this a 3 out of 5 stars. Next up is Pushing the Limits by Katie McGarry, and I have had this on my Kindle for years. The reason I haven't read it is because the cover is so bad, and that's like what people have told me. The book is really good, but the cover is so bad, and the cover is so bad. But this book was so much better than the cover. This book was very, very intense, and it dealt with some really hard topics like mental illness and abuse and foster care, just a lot of tough stuff. But I really did like the romance and how the characters really came together and got to know each other. It also had a main character who was in foster care. I work with a lot of kids in foster care, so that bit especially I really liked. But it just like wasn't the best contemporary romance, but it was very good, if that makes sense. I feel like I gave like everything a 3 star for a while, but that's just kind of where everything was laying, and this one too. I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. Next up was The Wedding Date by Jasmine Guillory, and I'm pretty sure I read this in like one day coming back from Ethiopia. My plane got delayed in Chicago, and I just was sitting for so many hours, and I was so tired, and I was like, let's just read it. This is an adult romance, so there is some steam in here, some real steamy times, but it was so good. I really liked that it featured a biracial couple. I also really loved that Alexa got to school Drew on his privilege. It is not her job to talk to him about privilege, but she really was like, here is how it is. And he learned a lot through this book. Again, not her job to teach him, but it does not mean that he can't learn from her, and they were just so good together and so good to each other, and the whole concept was great, and I just really liked it. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. Next up was Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren, and I really liked this a lot. As a friends to lovers trope, you know, and like growing up together, which is another one of my favorite tropes. I really liked all the characters. I loved how it kind of went back and forth from like present day to flashbacks a little bit. It was just really well done. I also read Roomies, I think before I read Love and Other Words, but I think I didn't put it on Bookly because I was just like tired of tracking all my reading, and that was also very steamy and also very good, and everyone said it was gonna be good, but it was really good. And Christina Lauren is actually a writing team, and I just love their writing. I really love how they write adult romance books. They're just really good, and like I said, it's an adult romance book, so anytime there's an adult romance book, you know it's gonna get a little bit steamy, so be prepared. Next up is Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi, and this book was so good. The magic system is amazing, the world building is phenomenal, the characters were very interesting, and I can't wait to learn more about them. It was just so well done and so good, and I really, really liked it, and I can't wait for more books because I really feel like it's only gonna get better. A lot of high fantasy is very white in origin, and a lot of the religion and background of the magic and how they do things is just very white. At least a lot of the ones that I have read, and so the fact that Children of Blood and Bone is just so steeped in African mythology, makes it stand out, and it's just really good and really great, and I highly recommend it, and you should read it. According to this, I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, but I feel like I'm gonna move it up to a 5. I really liked it, and the more I think about it, the more I like it, which means it needs to move up. Next up was Foolish Hearts by Emma Mills. Again, Emma Mills, princess of contemporary, because Morgan Matson for me, obviously, is queen of contemporary. She is princess of contemporary. Every time I say princess, I really want to say princess of Genovia. I think Foolish Hearts was the best one yet. Like, every book I read by her, I'm like, no, this one's my favorite, and then I read another one, I'm like, no, this one is my favorite. They're all so good. And I really liked Foolish Hearts. I really liked that it was about a girl who just like got herself into a mess by hearing a breakup, and that she befriends one of the girls who's part of the couple, and there's a lot about like fandom. I really liked the guy who was the romantic interest as well. He was just different, and I really liked him. There's so much good in it, and I love it. I give this a 5 out of 5 stars. And last but not least is The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue by Mackenzie Lee. And if you didn't know, it features a bisexual main character who is fabulous and amazing. This book was so fun, and like going through Europe and following all of Monty's adventures was fun, but there was a lot of secondhand embarrassment, like a lot. And there were so many times that it was too real, too much secondhand embarrassment. I could not deal, and I was like, I need to stop and like close this book. I finished this on the way to Book Expo, I believe, or like during Book Expo, and I just like had to stop a lot of times, which is not my ideal reading situation on a plane because I'm like, too much secondhand embarrassment, but it was still so good, and I really loved Monty's story. And also there was just like a bit of that love story with Monty and Percy, and it was precious, and I loved it, and they're so precious. And that's it. That's all the books that I read in May. So 9 total. And that's where we're gonna end this wrap-up catch-up, because it is already ridiculously long with only going over 3 months of books. I'm really trying to keep it a decent length. This year has been a mess, and I'm a mess, but it's okay because we're here. Let me know down below what your least favorite book you've read this year so far is. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Sorry, I'm still a little sick.